Hello everyone, the sun is shining, the Premier League is about to return, everything looks really good. So we're looking ahead to game week 8 in the Premier League, 10 more games, starting with Watford versus Liverpool on Saturday lunchtime. Let's go straight into the predictions. These are all brought to you by Whatacca.com, where you can find daily accumulated betting tips, lots of free betting advice, and you can join our email list and be one of the thousands of subscribers that receive the brilliant information that we send out on a regular basis. Right, let's kick things off anyway with Vicarage Road. We've got Claudio Ranieri back in the Premier League. The Tinkerman, or Dilly Dong, whatever you want to call him. He is in charge of Watford now, become the latest manager to sip from the poison chalice. But can he get anything against Liverpool this weekend? We don't think so. We think the Reds are a good bet to win this game, but we're going to go for Liverpool and both teams to score. The reason for this is if you read what Ranieri said when taking over this season, he basically said he wants his team to be on the front foot. He likes teams to go forward, attack and score goals. We think Liverpool are not too weak at the back, but they did concede 3 goals away to Brentford and showed something of an Achilles heel against Manchester City as well when conceding twice. So we think Watford will be lively, and Ismail Assar is often good for a goal. He did well against Liverpool in a previous fixture, but Liverpool surely will be too strong over the 90 minutes. So Liverpool, both teams to score to kick things off. Then we look at a Midlands derby between Aston Villa and Wolves. We're going to go for under 2.5 goals in this game. Quite simply, Wolves are defensively very strong. They have only conceded 1 goal away from home so far this season. They've managed to nick a couple of wins away at Watford and at Southampton. Aston Villa are pretty tight at home. Emiliano Martinez is a pretty strong keeper. We just think this will be quite a cagey encounter, and therefore we're just going to err on the side of caution and go under 2.5 goals. Next comes the clash at the King Power Stadium between Leicester City and Manchester United. We're certainly not going to back Manchester United at odds on for this game. Leicester City have scored 9 goals so far this season and United have scored 14, so we're going to go for both teams to score yes. Jamie Vardy is in excellent form and has scored 6 goals in his team's first 7 matches. United are always good for goals, whether it's home or away. In fact, after 2 fairly poor home performances, 3 if you include the Villarreal in the Champions League, they might find it a bit more opportunistic away from home on the counter-attack, but both teams to score yes seems the better bet rather than look at the full-time result market. Next comes the match at the Etihad Stadium between Manchester City and Burnley. We're going to go for Manchester City to win and both teams to score no. Effectively, this is City to win to 0. In the 8 of the last 9 matches between these two teams, that has been the outcome. The Clarets very rarely lay a glove on their Northwest opponents. We're not expecting anything to be different here. City will dominate possession. They'll be tight at the back. Burnley will struggle to get out of their own half at times, and that seems the logical play here. Next, we go to Carrow Road, where Norwich City, rock bottom of the Premier League, clash with Brighton. The Canaries only have 1 point, which they got at Turf Moor just before the international break with a goalless draw. However, they are in dire straits. They need a win very badly. We're not expecting them to get it against the Seagulls team, who've only lost 1 game this season. We think that they've already won away to Burnley and Brentford this season. They got a slightly fortunate draw away to Crystal Palace, but we think at odds against Brighton are probably the best play here to heap more misery on Daniel Farke's team. Next comes Southampton against Leeds. A bit of a crunch match at St Mary's, considering it's 17th against 16th place. Ralph Hasenhüttl is certainly keen to get that first win on the board. The longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get for the Saints team, who I think are missing James Ward-Prowse for this one after getting a red card at Stamford Bridge. We're going under 2.5 here. I think the Saints are pretty tight at the back. They managed to keep things pretty solid, and they did get a goalless draw at Manchester City as well. So we think they probably managed to sort of shackle Leeds. It might just be 1 goal that decides this game. Similarly, Leeds, I think, will be no quarter given, and a draw won't be a bad outcome from this match, considering that they beat Watford in the last game. So under 2.5 goals. Next comes a match between Brentford and Chelsea. We're going to have a little play on Brentford and the draw on the double chance market here. So we're betting against Chelsea to win. The reason for this is that Chelsea are a pretty short price to win this game, so you can get a decent odds about Brentford in the draw. We also think that post-international breaks, not an ideal time for the top teams to be playing, because while the vast majority of Chelsea's team have been on international duty. The same can't be said of Brentford, so therefore they might be in a better state of preparation for this game. It is a derby game. It is at Brentford Stadium, and they have only lost one game all season. I mean, they did draw 3-3 with Liverpool. They beat Arsenal 2-0, and they only lost 1-0 to Brighton right at the death. So Brentford will draw. I think they've got a decent chance in this game, and Chelsea certainly won't things have their own way. And they weren't massively convincing before the international break, certainly in games against Manchester City and Juventus. They were second best in those games. So yeah, I think they could be vulnerable favourites in this one. Everton clash with West Ham in the next game we look at, and we're going for both teams to score yes. 6 out of West Ham's 7 matches to date have featured both teams to score. They're very attack-minded under David Moyes. He returns to his old club, but they also concede goals. Everton have scored 13 goals, so they're just one off West Ham's total. They're full of vibrancy, irrespective of Dominic Calvert-Lewin's availability. Really, we like Townsend is a man reborn, and the same applies to Damari Gray. Abdoulaye Doucouré is playing a more sort of advanced role and pushing forward. So yeah, both teams to score yes here. I know Everton have won all 3 of their matches so far, but they've been against modest opposition. Newcastle play Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. Really hard game to call this, because at the time of recording, Steve Bruce is still Newcastle manager, but expected not to become the match. So you've got potentially a caretaker manager situation with Graham Jones in charge. You've potentially got a new guy coming in for the game, although it would be a very quick turnaround there. And then Tottenham, favourites to win this game, but not too reliable for a match such as this one. We just think maybe playing the draw would be a bet where you can get a decent price, and it could be a fairly close game between the two teams. Tottenham on paper are a better team, but they haven't always demonstrated their capabilities under Nuno Espirito Santo this season. He'll probably adopt a slightly cagey approach given what's taken place at St James's Park. So we'll play the draw with a tentative play there. And finally, Arsenal clash with Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira returns to Arsenal, although he mainly spent most of his playing time at Highbury rather than the Emirates Stadium. Just think Arsenal are a bit too short for this game. Palace are pretty hard to beat. I mean, they have only lost 2 games this season, and they were away to Chelsea and Liverpool. Everything else they've managed to get something out of. They came from 2 goals behind to deservedly get a point against Leicester. They got plenty of character in that team under Vieira, and we think that I'd go for the draw here, but I wouldn't put you off going for Palace and the draw on the double chance market. We're not sure Arsenal are absolutely nailed here. They didn't create a great deal away to Brighton in the previous game, and we're not sure they're a good thing under Mikel Arteta for this clash. I think there's probably not that much between the two teams. So those are all the predictions for the Premier League. So yeah, head over to Whatacca.com to get a recap in written format. That's going to be going live. Plenty of tips going live this week, including obviously looking ahead to the weekend action, and then the following week we've got the Champions League and the Europa League. So lots going on at Whatacca.com. Head over and have a great week. Cheers, guys.